everyone, and welcome back to my channel. It has been a hot minute since the last time I filmed a video, and this one is actually going to be a project update. And I believe the last project update I did was January, I think March or April. Maybe it was March or April. So this is, oh no, so this is going to be my April, May, and half of June. The projects I've been working on since April, May, and June. Yeah, so the first thing I want to talk about is what I'm wearing, and this is my first finished object. And this is the T #1 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. And I'll stand up so you can kind of see, like, it's got the folded hem on the sleeves and on the hem at the bottom. And I really like the way that this turned out. I wish I had taken pictures of before blocking because the yarn was really quite stiff. And speaking of the yarn that I used is the Cascade Eco Plus Hemp. So it's this one here. And this is what I think I had this in stash for like 2 or 3 years. I think I originally purchased it to knit the All of the Lights cardigan by Joji Locatelli, but it didn't work out, so I ended up ripping it out. And it found its way into this project. So it is 80% Peruvian Highland wool and 20% hemp. So it does have, I don't think it's the wool that's scratchy. I believe it's gotta be the hemp, because you can kind of see those white, like the lighter color in there. That's gotta be the hemp that's in here. And like the purple itself is the Peruvian Highland wool. I've knit with Peruvian Highland wool before, and those sweaters have not been particularly scratchy. So I think it's just the hemp content in this one. What else can I say about this project? Hold on, I got my notes here. When did I start this? I started this on April 17th and I finished it on May 30th. So it has been done for a while now. I kind of did a mad sprint to finish some projects before the end of May because I anticipated filming a project update video a couple weeks ago, like at the beginning of June, but alas, I'm here now. But yeah, so I'm really pleased with how this turned out, and the weather lately has been a little bit colder for June. So I've actually worn this at least a couple of times since I've finished it, because it's nice and it's warm without being too warm, you know, because it's got the shorter sleeves, and the hemp content, I suppose, lends itself to being a little bit cooler than 100% wool. So yeah, and I really like the drop, or the saddle shoulder, sorry. So it's like a saddle shoulder. You knit the saddles first, and then you pick up for the back, pick up for the front, and then you knit the body and go back and pick up stitches for the sleeve. And yeah, I really liked this construction. It was, I've done a couple of saddle shoulder constructions before. Yeah, and the one thing about this one was before it was blocked, it was really puckery in this area here where I picked up the neckline. And the bottom hem was flipping up a lot before I blocked it, and thankfully after blocking it has really settled out. The one thing I will say about this pattern is doing the folded hem. This was the first time I've actually successfully done a folded hem on like every aspect of finishing. And the neckline itself, I don't know, it took me, I didn't understand the neckline the first time I did it, and so I had to rip it out and do it again. Because it is different from anything that I've done before. You're technically doing the neckline like inside out, and then when you do the fold, you're folding it on the right side. So it has this really nice detail, and it was really sloppy the first time I did it because I didn't understand exactly how to sew it down, so I had to watch a tutorial, and then I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I did it wrong the first time. So the second time worked out. But yeah, so that's my first finished object and what I'm wearing. And yeah, so I'll get into the rest of my finished objects. The first finished object I have is a pair of socks, and I believe I had, well, technically I had one of these finished the last time I filmed a video, and I finished the second sock. So this is, there's no pattern for this. I just knit a, what is this? A 6x2 broken rib. Let's see, there we go. And I actually, I was inspired by the very first sock pattern I ever knit, which was the vanilla latte socks. And that was a pattern I found on Ravelry, which I think when I recently went to go look for it again, I don't think the pattern's available anymore. But it's pretty simple. I did a standard heel flap and gusset, and then I don't know if this is a rounded toe. It's a toe that I use for every sock that I knit, basically. But I really like ribbed sock, or I don't like vanilla socks. I don't think they fit me very well, and they're just kind of boring to knit. So even something like this is enough interest for me, or enough to keep me interested in knitting, because it's you knit every round, and then you knit 6, purl 2, knit 6, purl 2, and then you knit the next round. So that's slightly more interesting than just stockinette knitting in the round. The yarn that I used, I believe I reclaimed this from a project that I was trying to make the ripple bralette a couple, what was that, like 2 years ago, and I didn't like the way it was looking, so I ripped it out, balled up the yarn, and then I finally put it into a pair of socks. I believe it was from Sweet Georgia Fibers, or Sweet Georgia Yarns, and I don't remember the colorway, but the contrast color, the sparkly undyed yarn, was just that, an undyed sparkle or stellina yarn that I picked up from my local yarn shop when they were in business. But yeah, so that's my first pair of socks. I really like the way that it kind of like striped on here, and then, well, I guess it kind of gets a little bit messed up around the heel turn or the gusset there, but I feel like on the first sock it did a better job of continuing to stripe. But yeah, so that's my first pair of socks. I'm just gonna put a pile of finished objects on the floor over here. My next finished object is another pair of socks, and this is the Stardust socks. Sorry, I'm just looking over at my notes so I don't mess up what I'm talking about. This is by Carlie Perrins, and I think again the last time I had one sock done, and I just needed to knit the second sock. And I believe, yeah, so the first pair of socks that I knit like this, I only did the color work on the cuff. And for this pair, I decided to do the color work on the toe as well. But I did omit, I omitted a couple of repeats here and a couple of repeats here of these little dots. I just didn't want to do it. But the interesting thing is I knit this sock immediately after the first pair, and I feel like I did a really good job with my tension. I think I still had to go up to a 2.75 for the color work, and then down to a 2.25 for the part that's not color work. So you can see the difference in the stitches. Like, this is the 2.25, and then these stitches look a little wonky because they're 2.75, and this is after blocking. So, the thing about the second sock is I waited so many months before I picked up the second sock, and I actually knit this all in one day. It just went by super fast. But you can see, I don't know, this one, my gauge was a lot tighter on this one compared to the first one, because I think, like I said, I knit the first one after the first pair, so I had my tension a lot more, I was more consistent with my tension, so you can see that. And then my second sock, after a couple months of taking a break from color work, it's how can I show this? It's slightly, the gauge is definitely smaller, so you can see there's that much more on the first sock. So they both still fit me pretty well, because it is around the foot, or sorry, the cuff, the leg part. Oh, I'm dropping my socks. But yeah, I'm still really happy with how these turned out. The yarn that I used So the contrast color is a stellina yarn that I got from my local yarn shop before they closed. And I don't remember, I didn't keep the ball band for some reason. I think I must have wound up the yarn at the store, and then either I left the ball band at the store, or I just lost it somewhere. So I don't remember what company or what dyer did this one, but the light pink here was leftover yarn from Midnight Cravings, and that's in their light sock base. And I believe the color was called Rosewater. I'm pretty sure that's what, oh no, yeah, it's gotta be Rosewater. So yeah, so that's my Stardust socks. And this is the cuff down edition. She does have another one that is toe up. So depending on your preference of toe up or cuff down, you can purchase one or the other pattern. I do believe they come in separate patterns, so you would have to buy one or the other, or if you wanted to get them both. I believe, honestly, as long as you buy one pattern, you're going to get the charts for toe up or cuff down, essentially. I think what each pattern has is just the construction for the heel, I guess, because toe up heel construction is different from cuff down. That's what I would assume. Let's see. So my next finished object is a fun one. So this is my Afra sweater, and this is a pattern by Irene Lynn, and this is how it turned out. It's a cropped top and that has these like gorgeous balloon sleeves. Like, look how dramatic those are. Oh my gosh. These sleeves are everything. And I love this detail of the stockinette stitch that comes to a point here with the lace. And then this is all half twisted rib here. It was miles and miles of half twisted rib. Like, look at that. This is all half twisted rib. And it's so squishy. Like, look. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And here's the neckline. So it's kind of like a shallow V-neck. And then the bottom hem has this pattern in it as well, with the lace and the twisted ribbing, half twisted rib. The yarn that I used was a gift from my friend Faith. She got me some wool from Mountain Meadow Wool, and this is on their Saratoga base. Sorry, I was talking off to the side there. Mountain Meadow Wool in their Saratoga base, and I think the colorway was called Rose, I want to say. But this is like bubblegum pink. This is definitely like Hubba Bubba pink. And yeah, so I have tried this on over a couple of skirts and dresses, and it actually looks super cute over my kind of like linen, like army green kind of, what is that color? Like, it's kind of like a yellow green skirt, essentially. But the one thing I will say about this is that, okay, I didn't alternate skeins like I might possibly should have, but I don't know. I don't really mind. But there is, you can see where the color, like where one skein changes to the other, it's a lot more apparent on the back. You can see like the first skein that I used was a lot darker than the second, sorry, I'm talking behind the sweater now. I'm so out of practice. Yeah, so the skeins that I used in the middle here were a lot lighter than what I used at the very bottom of the hem and on the top, and even on the sleeves. Oh yeah, you can see right here where I used the last ball of yarn. And then I wonder if this sleeve looks the same. Not much of a difference there, but I really enjoyed this pattern until I got to the sleeves. And then it was just, it took me, hold on, let's see, when did I cast this on? Which project is this one? This is project number 9. So I cast on the Afra sweater on March the 2nd, and I finished it on May the 31st. So that was like 3 months to knit this particular sweater, and I took a lot of breaks because I would maybe do an inch, maybe even half an inch of the half twisted ribbing for the sleeves before I would get bored and move on to another project. But oh my gosh, look at that. Like, look at, it just looks so clean. I don't know. After blocking, it just feels so much nicer after blocking, and I feel like that's the case with a lot of yarns, like especially like with this t-shirt too. Like the yarn was a lot stiffer, and then when you wash it and block it, it really settles out. So I really enjoyed how this turned out. Yeah, I can't wait to actually get to wear this out. It's very feminine, very dramatic with the sleeves. So it's definitely a dress up sort of attire garment. But yeah, so that's that. Oh, and then the other thing is, so because Faith we did a kind of gift exchange. So she sent me this yarn, and I sent her some goodies and some fiber. And she's knitting this Afra sweater as well in the same yarn, but in a green color. So I'm really excited. I think she's almost done her sweater, so I'm really excited to see what hers is going to look like when it's done. Okay, so that's that. And my last finished object is the Fjolla sweater. And this is by Isabell Kraemer. And this is how it turned out. So, this one is knit out of Loops and Threads wool-like held double. So it's this one here. I realized I forgot to show the Mountain Meadow Wool Saratoga. So this is what I knit my Afra sweater out of. But yes, okay, so that I held the Loops and Threads wool-like double, and it got, I don't even know if it got gauge, to be honest, but I really liked the gauge that I was getting. The stitches look super clean and super neat. And yeah, so this has an interesting construction. You kind of start, what is it? You start with, you're not starting in the round, like with the neckline in the round. You start with the strip, and then you're gradually increasing, going around back and forth until you connect in the round, and then you keep going in the round. And that kind of gives you like the illusion of like essentially doing short rows, but it's got a nice dip in the front, and it's got this beautiful little dainty lace detail on the front here, and the same lace detail is going down the arm. Let's see if I can like show this. So it's got going down the arm, the full length of the arm until the cuff. And then the other thing is the arm shaping is new to me. So the way that this, I honestly don't remember what the name of this particular shoulder construction is called, but essentially it's like it starts with increases on the top here, and then it starts to increase out for the sleeve, and it's got this purl stitch here to kind of give a faux seam, which I really like. And that faux seam is carried again under the arm, so on the side here, so it looks like a bit of a seam, and then it's also on the arm. And the modifications I made to this pattern are very minimal. I think the only thing I didn't do was, I think there were decreases in the sleeves, and I just omitted those because I felt like the sleeves were already going to be skinny enough. So, yeah. What did I do here? Oh yeah, and I did an Italian bind off on all the edges. I'm kind of obsessed with the Italian bind off, so I just did that on, did I do that up here too? Yeah, and I did it on the neckline as well. The one thing I'll say about this pattern is before I blocked it, so this is acrylic. I think it is 90% acrylic and 10% nylon. Okay, it's 85% acrylic and 85% acrylic and 15% nylon. So it was a little bit stiff before I put it in the washer and dryer, but after it came out of the dryer, it was like, you know, a lot drapier. And before I put it in the wash, the neckline sit really funny. Like it was sitting like way up like this. And the, yeah, it just didn't look really good. So I'm really happy that with washing and putting it in the washer and dryer really settled it out. I think the only thing is like this here kind of I wouldn't say like it puckers, but once it's on, it sits flush. Like it'll sit against my neck, but you can see it kind of like hangs out like that. But overall, I'm really happy with this. And this was knit for a knit along that my friend Faith is hosting, the Fjolla Cal, was it the Fjolla Cal 2024? Or the Fjolla Cal 24? I don't know. I'll put the information down below. You don't have to finish it in order to win prizes. You just have to have it cast on and post to Instagram with the hashtag to be entered to win one of the prizes. So yeah, so that's what it looks like. I'm really excited. I'm not sure if I'll get much wear out of it until the fall, but we'll see. Maybe, I mean, I do have air conditioning in my place and I have been wearing sweaters at home, so I might be wearing some knitted sweaters while this summer while I'm at home in the air conditioning. But yeah, so that is all of my finished objects, and now I'll talk about my works in progress. Okay, so I have about, 4 works in progress to show. I technically have a 5th, but I didn't bring it because I haven't put much work onto it. It was like just cast on, so I'm just gonna leave that one as is. But I did bring 4 works in progress with me. So the first work in progress is called Priscilla, and this is by Marzena Kołaczek. And I have gotten quite a bit of work done on this. I don't remember, yeah, the last time I showed it, I think I had just finished the front right panel and I was working on the front left panel. And then, so I finished the front left panel and I did the back panel, and then I've connected it under, like I've connected it all together now. And so check out these cables and lace. Once it's blocked, it's really gonna open up. Oh my gosh, and there's baubles as well. It is such a fun pattern. I am obsessed with lace and cables and baubles, and when a pattern has all 3, it is right up my alley. It's definitely, I have not memorized the pattern whatsoever. I'm still having to look at the pattern for every row, wrong side and right side, because the wrong side also has decreases and yarn overs, so the pattern essentially is on both sides. And yeah, so the yarn, I'll talk about the yarn first before I talk about modifications. Okay, so I've got 2 more skeins left of this. I started with 4, and this is by Midnight Cravings. Let's see. Okay, get my face out of there. And this is on their Comfort Sport DK base, and the colorway is Rose Water, same as the socks that I had earlier. I'm just kind of obsessed with this color, apparently. And so I only have 2 skeins left, and I still have to do sleeves. And I'm thinking I might actually just make this a super cropped cardigan. And yeah, I still have to do the sleeves, and then I have to do the neckband, or like the collar, shawl collar. Well, the button band, sorry, the button band. I still have to do the button band. And I don't know. I might have to do some, I think what I'm going to do right now, because I just finished the second ball, so there's nothing attached to this right now. I think what I'm going to do is wind up a skein and see how far I get on one sleeve. I'm hoping, yeah, I'm gonna have to weigh the yarn as I go because I have to leave enough for the button band. So I might end up having short sleeves as well. I need enough for the button band, and I need for the ribbing around the bottom. Oh boy, because I really don't want to have to order more yarn, because it's definitely going to be a different dye lot. This is yarn I picked up at Knit City last year, I think. So the new yarn that's going to be dyed is probably going to be a different dye lot, obviously. The modification I had to make to this, because I think I knit a size too small. Oh, sorry. What happened was the knitting needles that were called for this were a 4.5, and for some reason I chose to knit with a 4mm needle, and I still knit a size 2 when I should have gone up to a size 3 if I was going to knit with the 4mm. I think after blocking it's going to be okay, but before I connected under the arms, I ended up adding, I think, about 12 stitches. So I added I added 3 repeats of this squiggly cable here under the arms to add a little bit more room here on both sides, because the pattern originally is just, you just connect and you just go, and this opening, I don't know, I don't really like tight fitting clothes, so I figured if I added an extra inch of fabric on the bottom, and what I could do is like decrease it out if I really wanted to. But yeah, so that was the modification I made, and that obviously is going to eat up a lot more yarn as well, so we'll see how it works out. Again, I'm really excited for this. I can't wait to have it done. And I'm hoping that my modification didn't add too much ease to it. I still, like, when I try it on, it seems to fit just right, but because this is superwash yarn, it is going to grow. And no, I did not do a gauge swatch. I almost never do gauge swatches, and it definitely bites me in the butt, but that's okay. I'm definitely a process knitter, and if I have to re-knit something, that's gonna be okay by me. Usually what I end up doing, though, is I'll re-knit something in a different yarn and then go back and tear out the previous one and knit it in something else. That's basically what I did with the yarn for this t-shirt, is I knit all of the lights cardigan until, like, basically until I got to this point. And then when it didn't fit, I just put it in a to be frogged pile and frogged it later in order to knit this. So it all works out in the end. But yeah, so that's my Priscilla cardigan. I'm really excited. I can't wait to have that done. It's going to be super cute. I'm going to wear it over all the dresses and all the skirts. And I hope it fits. So that's my first work in progress. My second work in progress is a big one. Oh my gosh, it has been my current obsession for the last like 2 weeks. So this is the Roving Summer Wrap, and this is a pattern by Irene. And I'm knitting this out of a cone of yarn that I got from Kensington Prairie Farms, and this is how much I have left on the cone. So it was a how many? It was 903 grams. It is 35% alpaca and 65% organic cotton, and it doesn't say much else other than that. So I don't know exactly how many yards or meters was on this, but it was quite a big cone when I started. And yeah, you'll see how much progress I've made. It's pretty intense. Okay, so this is an all-over lace wrap cardigan, essentially. Okay, I don't think I'm even going to be able to fit this all in the frame. So this is the back. And, oh, I forgot to say what size I'm knitting. This is the size medium, which I think has an incredible amount of positive ease for my size. But this is the size that Irene had in her pattern photos, like in the sample photos. And I liked the way that it looked on her, so I opted for the same size. I also wanted to use up as much yarn as possible. So I still have, oh gosh, yeah. I still have to knit I still have to knit the sleeve bands, like sort of like the cuffs on the sleeves. I don't think I'm going to do the garter stitch that's in the pattern. I might do either a 2x2 rib, or I might do an I-cord, or I might even do an applied double knit. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. We'll see when I get there. But I have to do that on both sleeves, and I have to knit the I-cord rope tie sort of thing, the long rope tie that you can tie this thing together. And right now I'm finally past all of this lace. This is like super easy to memorize, a 4-row repeat lace, and there's just miles and miles and miles of it. And now I've gotten to the bottom part, which is really fun. And it's got these like lace chevrons with like kind of like faux cables. Sorry, I'm trying to get, there we go. There you go. So I've got, I think, one more repeat maybe. I think I've got about 30 rows left to knit before I do the hem. And then, yeah. Oh, and then the shoulder construction is interesting because it's got this panel down the shoulder, and then the increases are like rapid increases. I think it's like 8 increases per row on the right side, so it's pretty rapidly increasing. I would try it on, but it's kind of in an awkward position. But essentially, the shoulders are going to drop all the way down. Like it's pretty far down. It's going to come down to like basically here when I'm wearing it. But yeah, so this weighs a ton. I guess once I'm finished with this, it's probably going to weigh like 800 grams. I assume, because I'm assuming I'm going to have yarn left over, or maybe like 100 grams left over. Maybe? I don't know. There's still so much left on this cone. It's a big cone. I think it was $80 for that cone at Knit City 2 or 3 years ago. So I'm finally using it. I think I mentioned before, I'm trying really hard to use stash yarn, or yarn that I have had in stash instead of buying new yarn for projects. I've only bought a handful of yarn this year. Oh, I did buy some stuff from Fibers West. But, okay, let's get that all in there. Okay. My next work in progress is, it's a dress. It's called Vilna, and this is by Natalie Pelykh. And I'm knitting this out of a small cone of yarn by Maurice Brassard, and I think it was 100% cotton. So it's one of these guys here. Well, this is technically my second cone, my second little bobbin, I guess. And I still have not split for the front and back yet, but I'm getting really close. I've finished all of the decreases, so now I'm just knitting stockinette in the round forever and ever. So this is what I've got so far. I should have measured. It looks like maybe like just over 2, 3, maybe 3 feet. But I'm not going to do a maxi. I don't think I'm going to do a maxi dress. I don't think I have enough for that, but I think right now it's like, this is where I'm at, and the sleeve split is like kind of further up. So I've got maybe 2 more inches to go. So I put my little thing here. So, oh, maybe I've got an inch and a half left to go. Because I think I put the marker right there to indicate that I wanted to knit 2 more inches from there before I split. Yeah, and then here's the lace detail on the bottom. And yeah, I'm really excited about this. Again, I did not gauge swatch, so I don't know how the cotton's really going to act. It might grow in ways that I wasn't anticipating, but that's okay. I've only worked on this for like 100 hours. Okay, maybe not 100 hours. Not so much. I mean, yeah, it's a lot of stitches. This is on 2.75 millimeter needles, so the stitches it's very, very small stitches. But I'm really enjoying working at smaller gauges. I think as much as I like worsted, how quickly worsted weight yarn works up in a sweater, I'm definitely more of a DK sport weight and fingering weight. And I think going forward, I might even, well, when I do get back to purchasing yarn, I think I'm only going to be purchasing like fingering weight sweaters quantities, or yeah, DK weight. I don't know. I really like the finer look of smaller stitches, I guess, on smaller gauges. So, but yeah, so I'm really hoping to have this done soon, hopefully by the end of this month, because I believe once I split for the front and back, it should go by a lot quicker, because there's lace on the back, and there's a little bit of lace on the front as well. So, and I really enjoy lace. I pretty much enjoy any texture more than stockinette stitch. Stockinette stitches, to me, I mean, it's just kind of boring. But you know, I get through it. I wouldn't say I enjoy it, but it is nice to have something stockinette stitch for when I just need something mindless. After having so many projects on the needles that have so many intricate stitches going on, like bobbles and cables and lace. So I guess it is nice to have some stockinette. Okay, so the last work in progress that I cast on yesterday, and this is the outline tee by Jessie Maed Designs, and I am, oh, let's see, oh no, I've got this inside out now. Come on. So I cast this on yesterday, and I'm knitting this out of Holstgarn Coast. So I have this I got from my very first Knit City back in like 2017, and I have 2 of these, and this is how much I have left of the first ball, and this is how much I have done since yesterday. So I've made quite a bit of progress. So basically last night Faith and I had a little bit of, like, we had a little knit night, and we were on our Zoom call for like 4.5 hours just chatting and knitting, and so I got quite a bit of work done on this. I very quickly cast on and knit the ribbing and the setup row so that I could get to the stockinette part, so I had something mindless to knit on while we were on call together. So yeah, and I'm actually really enjoying the gauge of this. I didn't do a gauge swatch, of course. I don't know, I just can't be bothered with gauge swatches. Maybe I'm a bad knitter, I don't know. But I actually really like the loose gauge of this. And I'm knitting on the needles recommended in the pattern. And what was I going to say about this? Oh yeah, and I'm knitting the size small. So I'm hoping, I was going to knit the size medium, but then I figured that might be too much positive ease. But this is going to be a summer t-shirt, like a cropped summer t-shirt. And I don't imagine I'm going to, oh my gosh, why am I all caught up? I don't imagine I'm going to use up all the yarn. Because I mean, I've already gotten this far, and I think I've only got 3 more stitches left before 3 more inches left to knit before I split for the sleeves. And like I said, I still have this much left of the first ball, or the first cake. So I haven't, like, I don't even think I've knit through half of this ball yet. And I still have all this. So this is gonna be my knitting for, like my mindless knitting for when I'm, waiting in line or waiting for an appointment, or at brunch today when I go out with my family. We're gonna be going for brunch, so I'll be knitting on that today. It's nice and portable. I can carry it in my little bag here. And yeah, it's mindless, so I don't have to think about it. But yeah, so that is all of my works in progress. Sorry, I feel like I kind of like speeding through everything, but I do have to go for brunch in about 20 minutes, so I'm going to speed through the last part of this episode, which is, oh yeah, my future knits. So my future cast-ons. Once I finish some of these projects here, I want to cast on some more like summer, like more of the hot weather knits. And the first thing I want to cast on is the Prairie Grove, or sorry, it's called Prairie Grove by Samantha Stadter. And I'm planning on knitting this out of a stash yarn that I got from a D-stash. And this is one-of-a-kind yarn. Where is this from? By Infinite. It is their Pollyanna natural fiber, or yarn, which is a mix of polyester, flax, and silk. But it doesn't say the makeup of it. Like, it doesn't say the percentages of each thing. But this is the yarn. Oh, if I can, like, can I get it to focus? Maybe? Well, anyways. So this is, it's got this really nice, like, heathered look to it. So I guess that's, like, the silk, the flax, and the polyester in there. And I really like the color, so I'm looking forward to it. I was going to hold it double, but I think I can get away with holding it single. I think it'll be okay. Anything, I'm totally fine with loose gauge of summer knits, so if it happens to be a looser gauge, that's fine by me. The next future knit is going to be the Ilana camisole, and that's going to be by Masha Ziablikova. And I believe, I don't remember which color I was going to knit that out of, but I've got these 2 cones, or these 2 bobbins essentially. This is Maurice Bressard what is this? Cotlin? So it's 60% organic cotton and 40% linen. So I've got these two colors here. Oh, here we go. I've got this like pink and a green. Like this is the green that is, I feel like, is my color green. So the Ilana camisole is going to be knit, I think, out of this color. And I'm going to hold it double because it is pretty thin. That's, yeah, it's pretty thin. So I'm going to hold it double, and I should have more than enough because I think there's, oops, I don't know how much yardage is on here. Oh, it is, well, it doesn't say. It's 227 grams, but I'm pretty sure it said like it was 1,600 yards or meters or something on the shelf when I got it. And then the last work in progress that I want to cast, or sorry, oh my god, the last work in progress. The last future knit that I'm going to cast on, or not the last one, but the next one, is going to be the Fleur Cami by Brianna Mason. And I'm going to knit it out of this color. And I'm really excited. Yeah, and again, this is the same cotton, so it's got the cotton and linen, and it's very thin as well. So I'll be holding that double as well. So I'm really excited because these projects, the tank tops or the camis, should go by much faster than the dress and the wrap and the cardigan that I've got going on the needles right now. So that's why I'm trying to get those big projects done so that I can work on smaller projects that'll fly off the needles a lot faster than something that's like 900 grams worth of yarn. But yeah, so that is, I think that's everything that I want to talk about today. I feel like there was something else I wanted to say, but I feel rushed because I gotta go to brunch in like, what is it, 15 minutes now? So yeah, okay, I guess I'm just gonna leave it there. Yeah, so thanks for coming today and watching my video, and if you stuck it out this far, thank you so much. And I think I'm hopefully planning this summer, I should have more time to film more videos, so I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that that's actually going to happen. And yeah, so I have like, I'm going to hopefully do a project update once a month, and then hopefully in between those videos I'll have some fun vlog style videos or some like pattern roundups or stuff. I don't know, those extra videos that everyone seems to be doing kind of thing. So I just want to jump on the bandwagon essentially and do some of those kind of videos. So yeah, anyways, I'll stop rambling. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, happy knitting. Bye!